Brady comes in from Ball State, a native of Muncie, Indiana, Delta High School graduate, 6'6", 250 pounds. And are we good to bring him in now? Yeah, we're good. Brady, we're trying to bring you in here, man. Do we got you on there?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, yeah, we got you loud and clear. It is Brady Hunt, South Carolina tight end, redshirt junior, again, 6'6", 250 from Muncie, Indiana, transfer from Ball State. And Brady, first of all, man, appreciate you doing this. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm glad it all worked out. Glad I could get on here.
Yeah, for sure, man. Glad to have you. And so I know you and I did one of these on the computer maybe a few months ago when you had first gotten to South Carolina, and I think you were actually getting ready for spring practice at the time or had just started it. So for the fans out there who sort of followed along during these 14 workouts and then the spring game, of course, how did you think spring practice went just overall and then for yourself as well?
Yeah, I think overall we had a good spring. Coach Beamer always says that spring ball is about getting better in a highly competitive environment, and that's definitely the situation that we had. A lot of people out there competing, and me personally, I feel like spring was pretty solid. Kind of showed what I could do, and I feel like I put myself in a good position to hopefully get some playing time this season.
Hey, Brady, Tyler Head here. Appreciate you doing this this morning. With spring practice, and we know that Coach Beamer has named Lenore Sellers the starter coming away from spring. What's the chemistry that you've been able to develop him, and what's it like getting to work with him ahead of playing with him this fall?
No, Lenore's has been great. I feel like one of the things that I like about him is obviously everybody knows he's dynamic with his legs, but just the ability that he has in the pass game and how he looks to pass first and uses his legs when he needs to. I feel like that's a big thing that's going to work in our favor this season. And, the spring was big, obviously, for building chemistry. We got a lot of new faces and me being one of them. So I'm excited to keep working on that through the summer.
Brady, in that sort of same vein there, you played quarterback yourself, for those listening who don't know that. Played it in high school and just as much ball as you've seen over the years. How difficult or how impressive is it how Sellers sort of does keep his eyes down the field? I feel like even that small sample size in the spring game, you saw him sort of where he would scramble out of the pocket, but he's got that kind of innate ability, that vision to sort of keep his eyes downfield. Ultimately, if he has to run it, he's going to run it. But as someone who's going to be obviously a pass catcher as well and has played the quarterback position, one, how kind of rare is that at times? And two, how exciting is that to know if there's kind of a scramble drill, you got an opportunity there to get open and get the football?
No, it's really impressive to have the ability to kind of sit in the pocket and have that poise, especially as young as he is, but then be able to extend plays and make plays when he needs to. It just is all signs of a great quarterback and somebody who's going to have a big impact on our games.
So I go back a couple weeks ago, and I think it was Coach Loggins that mentioned this, and this was before they'd officially named a starter or anything like that. But Loggins said that the guys in the locker room kind of know which way it's going to go before anything is formally announced. Has that kind of been the feeling throughout the spring that Lenore's has been the guy, or has it been kind of any back and forth between him and Robbie Ashford?
Like I said, spring is always highly competitive, and I think there was, a period where we were kind of waiting to see how things panned out, and a lot of people kind of had Lenore's in mind, and I think that's the way it ended up. But I think in that quarterback room, we've got a lot of good options. So no matter what happens, I think we'll be in a good position.
Brady, I think if I remember right, you and I talked about sort of just the strength and conditioning program and transitioning to just SEC level athletes all around you, basically in your room, and then of course on the defense. How did you, on kind of the personal end, how did you think your just transition to battling it out with fellow SEC athletes and SEC size? How smooth did it go as you got used to sort of that just kind of day-to-day grind and practice this spring?
I think it went as smoothly as it could have gone. Obviously, playing at this level against athletes of this caliber, there was a bit of a learning curve. The game's a lot faster, and after I'd say about a week of practice, I kind of started to get the feel of it, and I feel like kind of fit in how I was hoping to, and caught up to the pace pretty quick.
Now, have you had a definitive, I know you haven't played your first game yet, but a definitive welcome to the SEC moment in practice or any of the scrimmages or anything like that?
Not one that I can think of off the top of my head, but just being out there, it feels a lot different than, those MAC games. It's quicker. Practices are more physical, and my body's felt it, but I'm glad we get this month off to, kind of reset and get ready for the summer and the fall.
Yeah, speaking of that, Brady, we always like to give the fans kind of that little bit of a behind-the-scene looks at exactly what a day-to-day, life in a Carolina football player is. I know May, Coach Beamer has mentioned this. May is like really maybe the last chance for you guys to just reset a little bit physically, mentally, get yourself ready for what it really is a grind that starts in June. So for you, what does May look like? Are you back at home? Are you in Columbia? How do you sort of balance that mental and physical reset while also not feeling like you're completely starting over in June physically?
Yeah, I think time off is really important for me. I'm actually back home now, back in Indiana, seeing the family. Still working out and still trying to get the body right for the summer, like I said. But I think it's just really big, especially for mentally. The stuff that we go through day to day is exhausting. So kind of getting this month off to reset and see the family. So then when we are there in Carolina and we can attack at full speed and no hesitation.
Anything fun you got planned until you have to come back?
I'm getting married in June, so I'm doing a lot of wedding planning.
That's
and
a pretty big deal. Congratulations.
Thank you. But I've got a trip with some of my buddies, kind of our last hurrah of a bachelor trip before I head back to Columbia. So looking forward to that.
Wow, that one caught me off guard a little bit. Yeah, like Tyler said, congrats, man. That's awesome. Getting that out of the way in the summer so you can focus on football in the fall, I guess. Yeah, man, I guess as far as let's go back to spring here for a moment. I think Sean Elliott had maybe just been hired when we were talking before, and we were talking about how he threw on had his polo on, and he was out at Fort Jackson running through the mud with you guys. Now that you've had a full couple of months with Coach Elliott in the meeting room, on the field, a lot of people talk about the passion he brings to the game in general, but how has your relationship with him sort of built, and what's that been like just being with him on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, Coach Elliott's been awesome. Ever since he got here, he was clear with what he was going to ask from us, and he hasn't changed since he's been here. He's demanded the best from us, and that's something that I appreciate and respect from a coach, is always trying to get every ounce that they can out of you. And like you said, his passion just kind of rubs off on the whole team. I feel like once he got here, there's a little bit of a shift of mentality throughout the whole team, and I think that's something that's definitely going to benefit through the season.
I'm curious, with his O-line background and sort of just having to teach guys the techniques of blocking, tight end, I would say, is probably one of the most unique positions on the entire football field, in that you obviously, Brady, you have to have a pass catcher ability, you have to have that skill set, but you also have to be able to kind of stick your face in there and block people and be almost like an offensive tackle at times. How much, or have there been any specifics that you have learned from Coach Elliott on that sort of physical blocking end in terms of technique and leverage and things like that you think you've benefited from being around Coach Elliott?
Yeah, Coach Elliott's super, knowledgeable in the run game, obviously with his O-line background. I feel like the biggest thing that's helped me is just understanding leverages and, the goal of defenses. He has a defensive background before O-line, so he really understands what defenses are trying to do, and in the film room can explain it in a way that simplifies it, makes it easy for us to go out and play quick. So I'm, as a tight end, you're an extension of the run game and an extension of the pass game. You get to do a little bit of both, but I feel like Coach Elliott's really been beneficial in the run game, and I feel like I've taken steps to get better in the run game this spring.
What's his intensity like in a true practice setting now that you've gotten to see that?
He's intense. He'll let you know when you're doing something wrong, but he'll love you up when you're doing it right. So, like I said, I really respect him and respect the way he wants to get everything out of us, and glad that he's the guy that's the head of the tight end room.
Brady, so spring game obviously is not, it's not a true game, but you did get your first opportunity to be at Williams-Brice, with some fans, with the light show, with some music, all the sort of bells and whistles and stuff. So what was the first experience just in a somewhat game setting like for you in terms of like checking out the atmosphere and being in the stadium and being around the fans and all that stuff?
I'd say the biggest thing is it just makes me really excited for when it is a real game. That felt like bigger than any of the college games I'd played in so far, just from an atmosphere standpoint. And, it's strange because you're playing against the same team and everybody's rooting for everybody. So I'm excited to be, on the side where you got that whole crowd's rooting for your team and, just being in that atmosphere where everybody cares and everybody wants to see the Gamecocks win. So I'm just super excited to get to the season and get to be a part of it.
Now, did you have any knowledge of the pregame traditions or anything like that at Williams-Brice Stadium before coming down here?
I had some knowledge. I'd seen videos, but there's nothing like doing it out there yourself. So it was a really cool experience.
Well, it'll be even better when the fall rolls around. It is the Garnet Trust Hour. He is Brady Hunt, tight end transfer for Gamecocks football. We'll have more with him coming up here on your Thursday on the Game. Welcome back in. It is the Garnet Trust Hour here on the Game. Tyler Head and Wes Mitchell. They're in the Chevrolet Studios, joined today by Brady Hunt, transfer tight end for the Gamecocks. And Brady, getting back in the conversation, we talked about Coach Elliott a little bit at the end of that last segment. And Coach Elliott comes in here with a unique experience, having just been a head coach for 7 seasons at Georgia State. And given the fact that not only he was a head coach, but head coach at the Power 5 Group of 5 level prior to coming here, what, if anything, does that add to what he brings to the table for you guys in that tight end room?
I think it adds a lot. Having somebody who's been a head coach and has kind of, ran a team before, it just brings a different type of leadership into the room and kind of verifies that it's somebody that you can trust and somebody that is going to get you where you need to go, especially with his background and what he's done at Georgia State. So I think having a coach of his caliber is, a big blessing to me personally and the whole tight end room at South Carolina.
Brady, we've heard a lot of buzz throughout the spring about the defensive side and just kind of that front 6, front 7, the progress of those edge guys, the linebackers. Who are some of the guys, or just if you want to talk in generally, what has it been like to kind of battle with those guys every practice this spring, whether it's, pass rush, like kind of, pass pro, trying to block them in the run game, or even trying to get open against some of those linebackers and safeties? How much has that maybe helped you hone your game? Or are there some guys in particular that you've had like some good battles with?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the whole defense has been really impressive. But I think guys, like those in the edge room, especially Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart, some of those new faces, I think us going against each other is just making both sides of the ball better. I'm excited to see, what the defense does this year. I think they're really strong. I think the linebacking core is super deep. We've got a lot of options that can play there. Obviously Debo and Bam, but, D Knight and Golly that came in. I think that linebacker core is really, really solid. But just being able to go against a defense like that every day in practice is just going to make the offense better. So it was definitely fun going against those guys during the spring.
How about within your own tight end room now that you've had a month of practice in the spring game as well? What have you learned about the guys that you share the tight end position with?
I love the tight end room here. I feel like we've got a group that's really unselfish. Everybody wants to see the other guys succeed. And a lot of guys that are going to be able to add value to the team. Obviously we're competing against each other, but I just love that at the end of the day, we all just want to see each other succeed. So it's been a lot of fun getting to know those guys and getting to be on the field with them.
Has Josh Simon taken you hunting yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. I've never been, so maybe one of these days he'll get me out there, but he hasn't taken me yet.
Yeah, he's your guy for it from what I've heard. But that along those same lines, Brady, I think in today's college football world, just you transfer in, there's a lot of guys around you that transferred in, and this is their first semester at South Carolina. Even Josh, this is his second year, but he transferred in last year. What can you tell us about how Coach Beamer and this staff have tried to sort of kind of build that camaraderie or just that culture, that teamwork within the group when college football is a little bit different these days? Like you guys haven't spent 3-4 years around each other. So how do you feel like the team itself, the locker room, has kind of started to come together these last 3 months?
Yeah, college football is definitely different now. New faces every semester. And I think it's something that coaching staffs have to adapt to. And Coach Beamer has done a great job of it. He treats everybody like they've been there for 4 years, and doesn't treat anybody like they're the new guy, which I think is really big. But he also puts stuff together, like the 3-on-3 tournament that we did in the winter, and all the different team building stuff. And I feel like our locker room's a good locker room. We're tight. There's not cliques. It's not offense versus defense. I feel like we are a team, and that's something that's going to benefit us going into the season.
Yeah, I feel like we may have talked about this before, man. Did you have a basketball background too?
Yeah, I did. Basketball was my sport in high school, I'd say.
How was the 3-on-3, man? How fun was that to get out there and compete, and how'd you do?
It was a lot of fun. We got some hoopers on the team. Gage transferred from Miami. He was balling out there. I guess he played college basketball before he was at Miami, Ohio. So he was giving some people some buckets, and it was fun getting out there and competing.
I'm trying to think. We've had a couple of your teammates in here since the last time we got to talk to you. I don't know if Brady has been included on anybody's starting five.
Ooh. Yeah, Brady. So we have this thing now, man, where we give we have to ask the football player to give their starting five for basketball from the football team. So who's your first pick for your basketball team from the football team? Is it Gage?
Yeah, it's got to be Gage. I mean, he was out there. I don't think anybody could stop him when we were playing in that 3-on-3.
Looking ahead to this season, obviously it's a tough schedule. We've talked about it plenty on here. Some big brand names that you're going to be seeing. LSU coming to town, Ole Miss going on the road to Alabama, on the road to Oklahoma. Is there a particular game that you're looking forward to the most, or the one that you have particularly circled, for this fall?
I don't know. I feel like for me, it's always been one game at a time. You can't look too far ahead, or else you'll lose sight of what's in front of you. So I'm really just excited to be able to play in this league and take it one game at a time.
Now, have they gotten you up to speed on properly hating Clemson yet? Now that you're officially a Gamecock, how's that going?
They've tried. I'm not sure they can get me up to speed until I experience it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that last game of the season.
Yeah, for sure, man. And so I think it's always fascinating how fast the offseason does go. Like you kind of blink, and then you guys will soon be getting ready for ODU. But what does kind of that June, July look like for you? I know obviously you guys will be doing the summer workout program. There's a lot more these days in college football that you can do as a team as well. But are there any, after just going through spring and kind of looking at your own goals, is there anything in particular that you want to focus on this summer, whether it's, just getting bigger, getting stronger, working on your pass catch? Is there anything specifically like you've kind of identified you want to focus on?
Yeah, the biggest thing I got to work on from my point of view is my foot quickness, which I think will help me all around, but especially in the run game, kind of sustaining blocks and not losing leverage after the initial contact. And then it'll also help me, transitioning in the pass game and help me get open, especially in those, man coverage or one-on-one scenarios. Something that I feel like I got to improve on. So definitely those things that I'm going to be working on, as well as just getting stronger and getting the body the best place it can be before an SEC season.
Now that you've gotten to live here for a little while, anything sticks out to you as your favorite thing about the Columbia area?
Well, I do love all the golf I get to play there. Love all the golf, love all the food. Some good Mexican spots down there, which I know we were talking about earlier, is one of my favorites. So I really enjoyed Columbia.
You one of the best golfers on the team?
I would not say that, but I have fun golfing, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, this is kind of funny. Yesterday, I was out here in Muncie playing golf, and I hit my first hole-in-one. So
wow, man!
Yeah.
Hole-in-one, getting married in like a month. You got it all going on for you, man.
Yeah, it's been quite the summer, I guess.
How did that feel, man? I hear that's I don't really golf myself, but I hear that's that's just a moment in every golfer's life.
No, yeah, it was crazy. It was actually it was a par 3 kind of uphill, so you couldn't actually see the hole. But I hit it, and I looked at the guy I was playing with, and I was like, that's got a chance. We drive up there, couldn't see my ball anywhere, go look in the cup, and it was in there, and I didn't even know what to say. My buddy started jumping around, and it was a good time. But I'm just glad I got one under the belt. I thought I was going to golf my whole life and never have one. So,
well, hopefully that golf success is foreshadowing for what you're going to be able to do on the football field this fall.
For sure.